Everything in the universe operates under law. Just as gravity keeps planets in orbit and seasons rotate in order, there is a spiritual law that governs the flow of abundance. This law is not random, it is not emotional, and it is not selective based on personal worth. It is exact, consistent, and always working. The challenge is not whether the law functions. The challenge is whether we are aligned with it. Spiritual law says, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you assume to be true hardens into fact. This isn't philosophy. It is metaphysical truth. As Neville Goddard taught, the world is yourself pushed out. Your external circumstances are nothing more than the outpicturing of your internal state. Change your inner assumptions, and the world around you changes automatically. Emmet called this the law of mental equivalence. He explained that before anything can exist in the outer world, there must be a clear mental image and emotional equivalent of it in the inner world. In other words, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are in consciousness. So many people misunderstand this and live their lives reacting to what they see rather than shaping what they see. They pray for abundance, but continue to think in terms of lack. They affirm prosperity, but feel fear and worry. They want love, but assume rejection. They expect miracles, but assume unworthiness. But spiritual law doesn't respond to our words. It responds to our vibration. You're always using spiritual law, whether you realize it or not. You are either using it consciously and creating beauty, joy, and wealth, or you're misusing it and creating limitation, frustration, and struggle. You may say, but I didn't ask for this situation. And yet, if your dominant emotional state was fear, guilt, shame, or worry, you unknowingly summoned that very experience. This is not punishment, it's precision. Neville Goddard was very clear. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and your assumption, though false, will harden into fact. This is the mechanism of spiritual law. It bypasses logic. It overrides circumstance. It doesn't care whether what you're imagining is real or possible. If you sustain the assumption with feeling, life reorganizes to reflect it. Similarly, Emmet taught that divine supply is always present, an infinite well of ideas, energy, love, money, opportunities, and creativity. It's not something you earn. It's something you tap into. You don't need to fight or hustle for your share. Your supply is already prepared. Your only task is to align your consciousness so that it can flow through you. Fox also made it clear, there is no reality in lack. There is only the appearance of lack. This means when we say, I don't have enough, we're being hypnotized by the visible facts. But spiritual law isn't based on facts. It's based on truth. And the truth is, there is more than enough, always. So, what blocks us from receiving divine supply? One word: belief. We believe we are separate from God. We believe we have to earn everything. We believe we're not good enough. We believe abundance is for others, but not for us. These false beliefs act like filters that distort the spiritual flow. The law is still working, but it's giving us what our inner state believes to be true. The good news? Beliefs can be changed. Start here. You are not separate from the source. You are one with it. You are not a beggar trying to survive. You are a divine expression of infinite life. Your job is not to make things happen. Your job is to remove the resistance within and allow the power to do its work. Resistance shows up as doubt, fear, stress, overthinking, self-pity, and emotional baggage. Every time you indulge in those states, you block the flow. But the moment you return to alignment through stillness, gratitude, faith, or visualization, you reopen the channel. Neville Goddard often used the phrase living in the end. This means to mentally and emotionally live as if your desire has already happened. Not hoping, not begging, not trying to figure out the how. Simply assuming the end and dwelling in its feeling. If you can feel it now, you'll see it soon. That's the law. Emmet emphasized practical spirituality. He taught that you must guard your thoughts like a gatekeeper, not letting fear, hate, or limitation have space in your mind. When a negative thought arises, it must be replaced immediately with a spiritual truth. For example, I am always divinely guided. There is perfect supply for every need. God is my source. I lack nothing. These are not just affirmations. They are realigning tools. They tune your consciousness back into divine supply. There's no begging in spiritual law. There's only agreement or disagreement with it. If you feel broke, you're in disagreement. If you feel limited, you're in disagreement. If you feel unworthy, you're in disagreement. But the moment you feel whole, loved, abundant, and expectant, regardless of appearances, you move back into agreement. And in that space, miracles become natural. This understanding makes you spiritually self-reliant. You no longer look to people or situations for your security. You look within. You trust that the law is always working. You realize that circumstances do not determine your consciousness. Your consciousness determines your circumstances. The world may shout recession, but your soul says abundance. The economy may fluctuate, but divine supply never wavers. When you are in spiritual alignment, you become recession-proof, economy-proof, and logic-proof. Because you're no longer drawing from outer sources, you're drawing from the infinite. This is how both Neville Goddard and Emmet lived and taught. Conscious creation through spiritual law. To walk this path means becoming radically responsible for your vibration. No more waiting. No more blame. No more victimhood. Every moment is a new opportunity to align with truth. Every challenge is a mirror showing you where you're misaligned. Every desire is a divine invitation to expand your consciousness. Spiritual law is not just about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you really are, a channel for infinite intelligence, wealth, wisdom, and joy. And from that state, abundance is not just received, it is radiated. And before we begin, if you like what I'm doing here, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. It helps us to grow and motivates me to make more videos like this. And don't forget to let me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. I always love to know how far this wisdom's spreading around the world. Understanding spiritual law and divine supply. To truly grasp abundance, we must look beyond the surface of material reality and understand the spiritual laws that govern it. These laws are precise, universal, and always in operation, whether we are aware of them or not. Just as gravity doesn't stop working because someone denies it, spiritual law continues to unfold according to consciousness. At the heart of this understanding lies a revolutionary truth. Abundance is already present. You are not trying to get supply from the outside world. You are learning to align with the ever-flowing supply that already exists in the spiritual realm. The infinite storehouse of divine ideas. Every form of supply, money, opportunities, health, love, originates in the invisible realm of divine ideas. Emmet often emphasized that the true substance of the universe is mind or spirit, and that every visible thing is just a manifested idea. A house is an idea before it becomes bricks and beams. A business is an idea before it becomes an organization. A healed body is the result of a shift in the inner pattern of thought and belief. These divine ideas exist in an infinite storehouse. The universe is not limited. Spirit is not stingy. There is no shortage in the mind of God. Everything you need already exists as a completed idea in the spiritual realm, waiting for you to become conscious of it, claim it, and embody it. This is why you don't need to create abundance. You only need to recognize and receive it. The idea of supply already exists for you. When you align with it mentally and emotionally, it takes form in your world. Law of assumption versus law of mental equivalent. Two spiritual laws help us understand how divine supply moves into form. The law of assumption, as taught by Neville Goddard, and the law of mental equivalent, emphasized by Emmet and other New Thought teachers. Neville's law of assumption states that whatever you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, must become your reality. Assumption is not just wishful thinking. It is the act of mentally inhabiting the state of already having what you desire. When you assume you are abundant, you live from the feeling of that reality. That inner assumption impresses the subconscious mind, and the outer world mirrors it. Emmet law of mental equivalent is deeply related. You can only receive in life what you have the mental equivalent of. If you desire wealth but mentally hold images of struggle, unworthiness, or limitation, those internal patterns block the outer flow. If you want more of anything, you must build a larger, clearer inner picture of it. You must become the person who can hold that level of good. While Neville focuses on embodying the state, Fox focuses on building the inner pattern, but both lead to the same truth. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Why abundance is already present in spirit. One of the most liberating truths in spiritual work is this. You're not trying to create something from nothing. Abundance, love, health, and joy already exist in the invisible realm, and the divine has already provided them in full. This is not metaphor, it is spiritual law. The spirit is whole, perfect, and complete. Since you are an expression of that spirit, your true nature is also whole, perfect, and complete. The only reason you might not experience abundance is because your mental lens is clouded by fear, doubt, and false beliefs. Emmet taught that God is always the same, unchanging, infinite good. What changes is our consciousness of God. When you raise your awareness and tune your mind to the vibration of divine supply, you begin to experience more of what has always been there. Neville echoed this by stating, "You already are that which you seek. You need only awaken to it." The present moment is rich with invisible substance. You don't need to chase it. You only need to become aware of it, assume it, and allow it to unfold in your experience. How lack is just a false perception. What we often call lack is not a real condition. It is a misperception. It is seeing the world through the lens of separation and fear, rather than unity and faith. Lack is not a spiritual truth. It is a psychological state. There is no such thing as lack in the divine. There is only fullness, completion, and overflowing supply. When you feel stuck, broke, or empty, you're simply looking through the wrong lens. You are hypnotized by appearances and disconnected from the truth of who you are. Neville taught that all things exist now in a parallel state of potential, and the only difference between one experience and another is the state of consciousness you occupy. If you dwell in lack, you see lack. If you dwell in abundance, you see abundance, even before it becomes visible. Emmet would say, stop fighting the condition and start acknowledging the truth. When you redirect your thoughts away from fear and toward the divine, the illusion of lack begins to dissolve. The outer shifts when the inner changes. The role of faith in activating supply. Faith is not a passive belief. It is an active force, the inner conviction that something is true, even before you see proof. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the power that calls things that are not yet seen into form. Neville Goddard's concept of faith was deeply tied to feeling. If you can feel the truth of your desire, even just for a moment, you have activated faith. Faith is not hoping. It is knowing. It is assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, trusting that the spiritual law is already at work, and refusing to be moved by appearances. Emmet emphasized that faith is a discipline. You train your mind to trust the process. You affirm divine truth, even when your senses say otherwise. You continue to speak abundance, act from abundance, and mentally dwell in abundance, even if the outer world hasn't caught up yet. The secret is persistence. As Fox would say, it is the steady, daily, calm insistence on the truth that wins. Supply begins to flow when you hold the faith long enough for the inner picture to solidify and express in form. In summary, spiritual law is always operating, and it governs supply with absolute fairness and precision. Divine abundance already exists as spiritual substance and is ready to flow into form through the medium of your consciousness. The law of assumption teaches you to embody your desired state. The law of mental equivalent teaches you to build the inner pattern that matches what you seek. Lack is not a real thing. It is a temporary perception. It can be reversed by shifting your attention from fear to faith, from appearances to divine truth. Faith is the switch that activates divine supply. When you think, feel, speak, and act from faith, the universe has no choice but to mirror that state. The infinite storehouse is open. The divine ideas already exist. Your work is to align with them, receive them, and allow them to express through you. You are not separate from the source of abundance. You are its channel. The imagination as creative power. The most misunderstood and underestimated force in the universe is not out in the world. It's within you. That force is your imagination. While most people think of imagination as a child's tool for fantasy or daydreaming, mystics and spiritual teachers like Neville Goddard and Emmet declared something far more powerful. Imagination is the very substance of creation. Neville Goddard famously said, "Imagination creates reality." He didn't mean this metaphorically. He meant it literally. The outer world, with all its forms, events, relationships, and conditions, is nothing more than a projection of the inner world, the world of thought, feeling, and especially sustained imagination. What you imagine consistently, you bring to life. Neville, imagination creates reality, explained. To understand Neville's bold claim, we must redefine what we think reality is. Most people believe that what's real is what they can see, touch, or measure. Neville flipped this around. He taught that the world you see with your physical senses is merely a shadow, a reflection of your internal state. Imagination, to Neville, was not fantasy. It was spiritual action. It was the creative faculty of God operating through man. In fact, Neville equated God with the human imagination. He taught that when you imagine something vividly and emotionally, especially from the first-person perspective, you are engaging in a divine act of creation. You are planting a seed in the subconscious mind, and that seed must express itself in form, just like an acorn becomes an oak tree. He gave a simple formula. Imagine the scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Feel it is real, here and now. Return to that inner scene repeatedly, especially in a relaxed, drowsy state. Let it go, knowing that the unseen law is at work. He taught that imagination plus feeling equals creation. How inner pictures become outer facts. The reason imagination works is because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you impress an image repeatedly into your subconscious with emotional belief, it begins to shape your behavior, your perception, your assumptions, and even how others respond to you. This is not mystical fluff, it's law. Your inner images filter your decisions, your energy, your tone of voice, and your expectations. These invisible shifts ripple out and create the conditions that align with the original mental picture. Let's take a simple example. If you habitually imagine yourself as successful, confident, and abundant, you will begin to carry yourself differently. You'll walk into a room with a different presence. You'll take inspired actions. People will treat you according to your new vibration. Opportunities will seem to magically appear. But it's not magic, it's cause and effect. Your inner picture eventually hardens into fact. Emmet Fox's mental movie principle. Emmet Fox taught a similar idea in his own style. He often spoke about the mind as a movie projector. Whatever film you play in the inner theater of your imagination will be projected onto the screen of your life. You cannot project one movie inwardly and expect a different one to play outwardly. The law doesn't work that way. He called it the mental equivalent. You get in life what you consistently see in your mind. So, if you want different results, you don't need to chase circumstances. You need to change the mental movie. Fox emphasized clarity and repetition. Don't imagine vague outcomes. Instead, create a clear picture. What would it look like if your problem were solved? If you had the job, the health, the peace of mind? Construct that scene in your mind's eye. Watch it. Feel it. And above all, do not contradict it with fear, worry, or negative affirmations. Both Fox and Neville taught that imagination is not something to do once. It's a spiritual discipline. Repetition is key. Why idle imagination still creates circumstances. Here's the hard truth. Imagination is always working, whether you're using it on purpose or not. Most people are unknowing creators. They imagine the worst, rehearse failure, and dwell on rejection, without realizing they're rehearsing their future. If you constantly picture worst-case scenarios, you're laying the blueprint for them to unfold. This is why anxiety is so dangerous, not just for mental health, but for manifestation. Neville warned that every idle thought is a seed. Every emotional image you hold with persistence impresses the subconscious. So if you picture being broke, sick, or lonely, even passively, you're creating a vibration that attracts more of the same. Emmet Fox put it simply, you become what you think about all day long. This includes not just your conscious thoughts, but especially your subconscious images. That's why spiritual growth demands mental vigilance. You must learn to watch your inner screen and redirect it as needed. Learning to deliberately direct your inner screen. So, how do you take charge of your imagination? How do you stop the autopilot and become a deliberate creator? Here are some foundational steps. 1. Observe your current mental movie. The first step is awareness. What scenes do you play repeatedly in your mind? When you're falling asleep, what do you replay? When you think about money, do you picture bills or abundance? When you think about relationships, do you feel peace or fear? Your current inner movie reveals what you're unconsciously manifesting. 2. Interrupt negative imagination. When you catch yourself imagining what you don't want, stop the film. Don't let it play to the end. Say mentally or even out loud, cancel. That is not my story. Replace it with the scene you do want. This is not denial. It's mental correction. 3. Create your end scene. This is Neville's most powerful technique. Ask yourself, if my desire were already fulfilled, what would I see, feel, or hear? Create a short, vivid scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Maybe you're shaking hands with someone who congratulates you. Maybe you're holding the paycheck. Maybe you're sitting in the new house. Make it simple, vivid, and real. 4. Enter the scene repeatedly. Go into that scene daily, especially at night before sleep. Feel it as real. Hear the sounds. Sense the atmosphere. Persist in the assumption that it is already true. As Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption. 5. Match your words and actions. Don't let your outer words contradict your inner vision. If you're imagining wealth, don't say, I can't afford that. If you're imagining healing, don't tell people about your suffering. Align your speech and behavior with your inner assumption. In closing, imagination is not a toy. It's your spiritual workshop. It is the birthplace of all creation. Whether you use it deliberately or not, it is always shaping your life. Neville showed us that we are God in action through imagination. Emmet Fox reminded us that whatever you project in mind becomes your experience. Both masters agreed. You are not a victim of fate. You are the director of your mental movie. And the beautiful truth is this. You can start a new scene today, right now, no matter what has come before. The law doesn't judge. It simply responds. Choose your images. Feel your new life. Project the better film. And let your imagination carry you into the reality you were born to create. Feeling is the secret to manifestation. One of the most repeated and misunderstood spiritual truths is that thoughts become things. But Neville Goddard takes it one level deeper. He says, feeling is the secret. Why? Because while thoughts set the direction, feelings are the engine that drive manifestation into physical form. In the invisible world of cause, the world of the mind, it is not enough to think of your desire. You must feel that it is already yours. That emotion, that inner conviction, is the true creative power behind all manifestation. Let's explore what Neville and Emmet Fox really meant by this, and how you can actually access the felt state that transforms your inner vision into your outer reality. Neville's teaching on feeling it real. Neville Goddard made it crystal clear. Imagination plus feeling creates reality. Thought alone is not enough. You can visualize all day long, but if it lacks emotional conviction, it has no power to impress the subconscious mind. The subconscious, the creative, fertile part of your being, responds only to emotion, not to intellectual wishes. It cannot be tricked by words. It is moved by what you feel to be true. It is not what you want that you attract. You attract what you believe to be true. Neville Goddard. This is why Neville emphasized living in the end. You must feel now as you would feel if the desire were already fulfilled. Don't hope. Don't beg. Don't wait. Assume the feeling and dwell in it. This means if your goal is wealth, feel as if you already are prosperous. Walk like it. Breathe like it. Think and speak from that state. If your desire is love, feel as if you are already cherished and adored. The universe reflects back what you believe emotionally, not what you merely wish for intellectually. Emotion, the bridge between thought and reality. Think of it like this. Thought is the blueprint. Emotion is the electricity that activates it. Action is the final outflow. Without emotion, the blueprint remains just an idea. When you feel something deeply, joy, relief, confidence, gratitude, you signal to the subconscious that this is real. That's the moment the inner world begins to shape the outer world. This is why worry, fear, and doubt also manifest. They're strong feelings that imprint themselves as facts. Most people unconsciously create what they don't want because they emotionally dwell on what they fear. Emotion doesn't care if what you feel is good or bad. It simply brings to life whatever you feel is real. That's the law. How to summon the end state feeling. Here's where most people struggle. They ask, how can I feel something that hasn't happened yet? The answer is imagination and a willingness to suspend disbelief. Neville offers a process. 1. Choose a specific scene. Pick a short, vivid scene that would only happen if your desire were fulfilled. Not the whole story, just one impactful moment. It could be receiving a phone call of congratulations, signing a contract, holding the keys to a new home, or being embraced by someone in love. 2. Enter the scene in first person. Don't see yourself in the scene as if you're watching a movie. Be inside it. Look through your own eyes. Feel the chair under you. Hear the voice talking to you. Use all 5 senses. 3. Feel the emotions of fulfillment. This is the key. Ask yourself, how would I feel in this moment? Joy, relief, excitement, security? Let those feelings rise. Even if it feels fake at first, stay in the scene until it starts to feel natural. This is your end state. 4. Repeat it nightly. Neville called this the state akin to sleep. As you fall asleep, replay this scene until you drift off. The subconscious is most open just before sleep and just after waking. This is when your feelings are most likely to sink in. Emmet Fox's calm emotional control for prosperity. Where Neville emphasized vivid feeling, Emmet Fox emphasized emotional mastery. He taught that uncontrolled emotions, especially fear, resentment, and anxiety, block prosperity like a dam holds back a river. Fox advised training the mind to stay emotionally neutral or calmly expected, even when outer circumstances don't yet reflect the desire. His famous advice, do not get excited. Get peaceful. Why? Because a calm mind has power. In contrast, a fearful mind sends mixed signals. You might visualize abundance, but if you feel panic about money all day, you are broadcasting contradiction. Fox's method was simple, repetition of truth. Use short, potent affirmations like, God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. Divine love goes before me and prepares the way. Repeat them until they calm you down emotionally. The feeling of peace, trust, and certainty is the signal that manifestation is near. Techniques for entering a felt state. Let's get practical. Here are techniques to help you enter a state of feeling. The bridge to manifestation. 1. Gratitude pre-play. Gratitude is the shortcut to feeling it real. Every morning or night, list things you're grateful for as if they've already happened. Example, I'm so grateful for my new clients. I love waking up in my new home. I feel so blessed to be in this loving relationship. The subconscious doesn't need reality to be true. It responds to what feels real. Gratitude makes the desire emotionally believable. 2. Music plus imagination. Pick instrumental music that evokes emotion, peace, triumph, joy. Play it while visualizing your end scene. The music will amplify the emotion and help your nervous system believe it. 3. Mirror technique. Look in the mirror and speak to yourself as if you've already become who you want to be. I'm proud of you. You did it. You're thriving, you're loved, and everything is working out. Feel the pride, love, and certainty. This emotional imprint sticks. 4. Mental rehearsal, Neville Goddard. As mentioned earlier, use the state akin to sleep. Lie down, close your eyes, relax your body, and mentally rehearse the desired scene. Not mentally watching, but mentally living it. 5. What if game? Flip your worry pattern. Instead of saying, what if this goes wrong? Ask, what if everything works out? What if I already have what I want? Let the feeling of possibility rise. Imagination doesn't need certainty, only direction. In closing, feeling is not just a reaction. It is a creative force. The emotions you consistently dwell in become the mold of your reality. Neville Goddard said it best. Capture the feeling associated with your fulfilled desire. Do not just think of it, feel it. And Emmet adds the balancing wisdom. You must keep your emotions calm and poised, centered in spiritual truth. So, don't wait for circumstances to change. Change your feeling first. Use your imagination. Anchor in gratitude. Rehearse the future you want until it feels natural. That is the signal the universe responds to. Feeling is the language of the subconscious, and it always obeys. Gratitude, the magnetic key to increase. Gratitude is far more than polite manners or a reaction to receiving something. It is a powerful spiritual force, one of the highest vibrational states a person can embody. When deeply understood and practiced, gratitude becomes a magnetic channel through which the invisible supply of the universe flows into tangible experience. Gratitude as spiritual alignment with supply. Gratitude aligns your consciousness with abundance. When you feel truly grateful, not just say the words, but feel the deep vibration of appreciation, you are affirming that you already possess what you desire. You're not pleading for more. You are acknowledging the presence of infinite supply. This recognition lifts you in a harmony with divine law, which constantly seeks to express through form. Gratitude clears the static of doubt and fear. It says, I trust the unseen. I know provision is mine. That trust is the signal the universe responds to. Neville Goddard emphasized that you must live in the feeling of already having your desire. Gratitude is that feeling. The more you give thanks for the good in your life, even if it hasn't yet shown up physically, the more that good begins to appear. You're not attracting it as a foreign object. You're allowing it in by matching its spiritual frequency. How appreciation dissolves fear and lack. Most people focus unconsciously on what they don't have. Their internal dialogue is saturated with statements like, I wish I had more money. Why am I still stuck here? Nothing good ever happens to me. These thoughts radiate lack and fear. And because the universe reflects the dominant emotional tone of your consciousness, life responds in kind, with more lack. Gratitude neutralizes that pattern. When you focus on what you do have, health, a roof over your head, air in your lungs, people who care, you shift your inner environment from fear to faith. Appreciation opens your eyes to existing blessings. It trains your mind to see life through the lens of sufficiency rather than deficiency. Even in the darkest seasons, gratitude becomes a torch. It is not denial. It is divine redirection. It doesn't ignore the problem. It lifts you above it. Neville's gratitude imagination versus mere lip service. Neville Goddard taught that true gratitude must be felt. He was very clear. Repeating words without feeling is useless. Simply saying, thank you, 100 times will not manifest anything if your heart is still doubting, fearing, or longing. But when you close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of your desire and feel the gratitude that would naturally arise from that fulfillment, you are engaging in the creative act itself. You are impregnating your subconscious with a new reality. You are becoming the person who has the thing, and therefore, you must receive it. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you don't simply affirm, I am rich, or thank God for a vague promise. You go into your imagination, picture yourself living in financial ease, Feel the joy and gratitude of having all your needs met, and rest in that feeling. That's when a shift happens. This emotionalized gratitude in imagination becomes your new state of being. It sends a new command to the subconscious. And the subconscious, being faithful, reproduces your new assumption as fact. Emmet Fox's "Thank God in Advance" principle. Emmet Fox offered a simple but powerful technique: thank God in advance. To him, gratitude was not just for things that had already manifested, but for blessings that were already real in the spiritual realm, even if not yet visible. By thanking God ahead of time, you demonstrate faith in the invisible. You are acting on the spiritual fact that what you desire already exists in potential form and is on its way to you. This technique shifts you out of anxiety. It quiets the mind. It tells your spirit, the work is done. I rest in confidence. Fox emphasized that turning to God, or the divine, with thanksgiving creates an opening for supply to pour through. You can apply this immediately. Say, "Thank you, God, that the perfect opportunity is already mine," or "Thank you, God, that abundance flows to me effortlessly." But again, feel it. Don't let the words become robotic. Let them move through your heart like music. Practical gratitude rituals for daily abundance. To cultivate this state consistently, build rituals into your day. Here are several practices inspired by both Neville Goddard and Emmet Fox that help you embody magnetic gratitude. 1. Gratitude visualization, 5 minutes daily. Each morning or evening, sit quietly and picture one scene from your ideal life. See it in vivid detail: where you are, who's with you, what's happening. Then evoke the feeling of deep gratitude as if this scene were your reality right now. Let it wash over you. Do this without rushing. Even 5 minutes done wholeheartedly can shift your entire vibration. 2. Thank you walks. Take a walk and, instead of letting your mind wander, repeat "thank you" in rhythm with your steps. Let your mind drift to things you're grateful for, big and small. You'll notice your mood lift, your breathing deepen, and your body relax. You're literally walking yourself into alignment. 3. Gratitude journaling with vision. Every night, write down 5 things you're grateful for that happened today. Then write 5 things you're grateful for in advance, as though they've already happened. I'm so thankful I now earn money doing what I love. I'm grateful my relationships are thriving. Train your subconscious to accept these as facts. 4. Mental movie with emotional gratitude. Borrowing from both Emmet Fox and Neville, create a short mental movie in which you see your goal fulfilled. Play in your mind before sleep. Most importantly, feel the relief, joy, and appreciation. Sleep in that feeling. Let it marinate in your subconscious. 5. Morning statement of alignment. Upon waking, speak a short phrase aloud or in your mind. Today I live in harmony with infinite abundance. I give thanks that I am supplied in all things. I trust divine flow. Repeat until you feel it. This sets the tone for your entire day. Gratitude is your signal to the universe. When you practice gratitude, not from obligation, but from deep spiritual knowing, you begin to send out a different signal. It's no longer a frequency of need, fear, or chasing. It's a signal of alignment, peace, and joyful expectancy. That signal is what life responds to. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold. You stop worrying about when and how and start resting in the confidence that all is already moving in your favor. Gratitude says, I see what's already good. I know more is coming. I'm in tune with divine order. It connects your inner world to the infinite supply that surrounds you. When practiced consistently, it becomes your natural state. You no longer wait for reasons to be thankful. You generate them. And in return, life gives you even more to celebrate. Assumption versus begging. Living in the end. There is a powerful difference between assuming your desire is fulfilled and begging for it to happen. At first glance, they may seem similar. Both involve a desire. Both involve some form of inner communication. And both aim for the same result: manifestation. But only one approach brings consistent results, and that is the act of living in the end. This principle is foundational in the teachings of Neville Goddard and is echoed in the prayer philosophies of Emmet Fox. It is the difference between wishing for a new reality and embodying it right now. The moment you shift from wanting to being, from hope to certainty, from pleading to assuming, it is done. Your world begins to rearrange itself to match your new inner state. Why assuming the wish fulfilled works better than praying for it? Neville Goddard's teachings center around one core law: imagination creates reality. But imagination must be directed correctly. Most people pray from a place of lack, hoping, begging, pleading for something they don't yet have. The subconscious receives this as a message of "I don't have it." And since your inner state determines your outer world, you continue to experience not having it. Assumption, on the other hand, bypasses the delay. It says, I already have it. It is already mine. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. You assume the state of the wish fulfilled, not because you're trying to fake something, but because in the invisible realm of thought, it is already done. When you assume you're already the person you want to become, wealthy, loved, healed, free, you impress that reality upon your subconscious. And your subconscious responds by drawing circumstances that reflect that new identity. Assuming works better than begging because it aligns you with the vibration of your desire. Begging affirms separation. Assumption affirms union. The difference between wanting versus being. Wanting is a state of lack. It declares, I don't have this, but I wish I did. The emotional frequency of wanting is often frustration, desperation, or sadness. It keeps your desire at arm's length because you are acknowledging its absence. Being is a state of fulfillment. It affirms, I already am that. The frequency here is peace, satisfaction, and expectancy. You no longer chase your desire. You rest in it. You feel from it. Neville used to say, you must dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption. This is not about pretending. It's about internal embodiment. When you feel yourself already possessing what you once desired, your imagination becomes the womb of creation. You live from the end, not toward it. It's not, I will be rich someday. It's, I am already wealthy, and everything in my life now reflects that inner wealth. Emmet Fox on praying as if already done. Emmet Fox, in his classic spiritual writings, often emphasized the importance of affirmative prayer. This form of prayer is not begging a distant God to do something for you. It is a conscious declaration of truth from the standpoint that is already accomplished in the unseen. He taught that true prayer is not asking, it's knowing. Fox wrote, you do not pray to make something true. You pray because it is already true. In affirmative prayer, you don't say, please heal me. You declare, the healing power of God is active in me now. Divine intelligence is guiding me perfectly. I am whole, complete, and richly supplied. This is spiritual assumption in action. You speak from the solution, not from the problem. You align with what already exists in the mind of God. Then you allow it to unfold in your experience. Neville's end-scene visualization practice. One of Neville's most powerful techniques for assumption is the end-scene method. He taught that you must imagine, in vivid sensory detail, the final scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. If you want a new home, you don't visualize the search process. You imagine yourself already living in the home, cooking in the kitchen, watching sunsets from the balcony, or welcoming friends at the door. If you want to be married, you don't imagine meeting the right person. You imagine celebrating your anniversary or sharing a quiet morning coffee with your spouse. The end scene should be short and repeatable. 10 to 20 seconds is enough. Involve multiple senses, touch, sound, visuals, even smell. Imply the desire is already fulfilled. Evoke emotion, peace, joy, gratitude. Neville called this living from the end. You must enter the scene as though it is happening now, not in the future. Do it every night before sleep, until the feeling becomes natural. Once your subconscious accepts it, your world will shift to reflect it. Exercises to practice living from the end. Here are 5 practical exercises to strengthen your ability to live in the end. 1. The end scene loop. Before sleep, visualize a short scene that would be true if your desire were already fulfilled. Loop it gently in your imagination. Feel it, hear it, and live in it. Fall asleep in that state. 2. The morning I am identity shift. Each morning, write down or speak aloud 3 I am statements that reflect the fulfilled version of you. For example, I am a successful author whose books inspire millions. I am in a loving, supportive relationship. I am financially free and deeply content. Say them with conviction. Feel the truth of them. Walk into your day from that identity. 3. Change your inner conversations. Throughout the day, notice your inner dialogue. If you catch yourself thinking from lack or fear, stop and shift. Example, I don't know how I'll pay this bill. I always have more than enough. Unexpected income flows to me. I hope I'll get better. Health is my natural state. Every cell in my body radiates life. The goal is to keep your inner world congruent with the end result. 4. Gratitude for the future. Take 5 minutes each day to thank God, the universe, or your higher self for your desire, as if it's already done. Say, thank you for the abundance that surrounds me. Thank you for the love I now share. Thank you for the peace in my heart. This trains the subconscious to accept the new reality as present, not future. 5. Walk like it's done. Throughout the day, practice embodied belief. Walk, breathe, and move as the person who already has what you desired. If you're already free, how would you sit? Speak, breathe, dress? You're not pretending. You're aligning. Final insight, the state creates the outcome. Living from the end is not about ignoring present reality. It's about replacing it at the source. As Neville said, The state you occupy creates the outcome you experience. You're not trying to get something. You are becoming someone. When you assume the identity of the fulfilled version of yourself, your world has no choice but to rearrange in response. Begging is separation. Assumption is union. You are not asking for it. You are being it. And that changes everything. Mental substitution, from lack to plenty. Mental substitution is one of the most transformative practices in the field of spiritual manifestation. At its core, it is the conscious replacement of negative, limiting thoughts with higher, empowering truths. It's the art of shifting the inner narrative from lack to plenty, not once but repeatedly, until abundance becomes your natural state of being. Both Neville Goddard and Emmet emphasize that the outer world is merely a reflection of the inner world. If your inner dialogue is saturated with fear, lack, and limitation, life has no choice but to mirror those conditions. But the moment you catch those thoughts and substitute them with spiritual truths, you alter your reality at the root level, catching negative thoughts and replacing them instantly. Most people operate on autopilot. They are unaware of the silent self-talk running 24/7 beneath their conscious awareness. Phrases like, "I can't do this. I'll never have enough. This is just how life is for people like me." These thoughts are not harmless. They are commands to your subconscious, which obeys without judgment. Every thought you repeat becomes a belief, and every belief eventually expresses itself as your reality. Mental substitution begins with awareness. Start listening to yourself. Not just the words you speak, but the thoughts you think in quiet moments. Notice where you complain, worry, or limit yourself. As soon as you catch a thought that doesn't serve your highest good, don't analyze it or resist it. Replace it. Substitute immediately. For example, "I'll never get out of debt. I am a magnet for divine wealth. I hate my job. I am moving into joyful, prosperous work. Nothing ever works out for me. Everything is working in my favor, now and always." You are not denying reality. You are declaring a new one. You are refusing to give energy to the old pattern and instead affirming your divine right to abundance. Neville's "I am" declarations for abundance. Neville Goddard taught that the words "I am" are the name of God in man. Whatever you place after "I am" becomes your identity, and your identity shapes your experience. When you say, "I am poor, I am unlucky, I am stuck," you are invoking a creative force that locks you into that condition. The subconscious doesn't question whether it's true. It accepts your declaration and moves to bring it into form. But the moment you shift to, "I am wealthy, I am free, I am richly blessed," you begin to recondition your inner world. And what is impressed on the inner must express in the outer. These declarations aren't empty affirmations. When repeated with feeling and belief, they become living seeds planted in the fertile ground of the subconscious. Neville advised choosing a few powerful "I am" statements and repeating them until they feel natural. Don't worry if it feels fake at first. Keep going. Your emotions will catch up with your words. Examples: "I am one with the infinite supply. I am now living in abundance. I am financially secure, happy, and free." These are not affirmations of hope. They are affirmations of identity, and identity is destiny. Emmet golden key method. Emmet introduced a deceptively simple but profound technique, the golden key. The method is this. Whenever you are troubled, don't think about the problem. Instead, think about God. That's it. But in practice, it is mental substitution at its highest level. You are replacing fear with faith, lack with spiritual truth, panic with peace. Fox explained that you can't fight negative thoughts directly. The more you wrestle with fear or worry, the stronger they become. The golden key bypasses the struggle. Instead of focusing on the issue, you turn your attention to the presence of God, in whatever form that resonates with you. You might repeat, "God is love. God is my constant source of supply. Divine intelligence is guiding me now." By doing this consistently, you starve the problem of attention. And because energy flows where attention goes, the problem begins to dissolve, while the solution takes shape. The golden key is not magical thinking. It's a disciplined redirection of thought. It's an acknowledgement that your mind is your creative tool, and you have the authority to use it for higher outcomes. Shifting inner talk: "I can't afford it. I am lavishly supplied." One of the most damaging phrases people casually throw around is, "I can't afford it." Every time you say those words, you are affirming scarcity. You're reinforcing the belief that you are separate from supply, that money is limited, and that you are a victim of circumstance. Emmet warned that such statements, no matter how casually spoken, create mental patterns of lack that crystallize into outer conditions. Instead, substitute instantly. "I am lavishly supplied by the divine source. My income is constantly increasing. Everything I need comes to me, easily and richly." Even if you're looking at your bank account and it says otherwise, affirm abundance. You are not describing your present condition. You are declaring your future identity. Neville would say, feel as if you already have the wealth. Walk as though it's already yours. And then your reality will conform to your new inner assumption. How repetition creates subconscious acceptance. Mental substitution isn't a one-time trick. It is a discipline. The subconscious mind accepts truth through repetition, emotion, and belief. You must sow the new thought over and over until it becomes automatic. Think of the subconscious like a garden. Negative thoughts are weeds that have grown wild from years of neglect. You can't yank them all at once, but you can plant new seeds. And with daily care, watering them with repetition and emotion, those new seeds take root. Eventually, the old thoughts lose their grip. Your mental soil becomes fertile ground for abundance. Here's how to make it work. Identify recurring negative statements. Write them down. Create their spiritual opposites. Form I am or affirmative truth statements. Repeat them daily, morning, night, and during idle moments. Feel them. Imagine the joy, peace, and freedom they represent. Stay consistent, even when it feels fake, especially when it feels fake. This is how the subconscious is reprogrammed. And once reprogrammed, it takes over effortlessly, attracting people, opportunities, and resources to match your new self-concept. Final thought. Thought is destiny. You're always manifesting, whether consciously or unconsciously. Your thoughts, especially those you repeat with emotion, are the blueprints of your life. Mental substitution empowers you to take authorship. You're no longer a victim of old programming. You are a spiritual being with access to divine mind. Every time you choose a higher thought, you build a new future. So catch the old patterns, replace them with truth. Speak, I am with power, and let the golden key turn the lock. From lack to plenty, it's all a matter of thought. Faith versus doubt, sustaining the invisible. The greatest spiritual battles don't happen outside you. They happen within. One moment you believe, the next you doubt. You affirm your desire in the morning, but by evening you wonder if it will ever come. This internal back and forth is not unusual. In fact, it is the exact space where your transformation is forged. But make no mistake, what you sustain internally becomes your reality. Your dream is not waiting for the right time. It's waiting for your unwavering inner stand. The invisible becomes visible only when you hold your belief steady, when faith wins over doubt. Why results seem delayed, and how to persist. One of the most frustrating parts of conscious manifestation is the apparent delay between assuming something in the mind and seeing it in the physical world. You imagine a better income. You visualize a healed body. You affirm a loving relationship. But days or weeks go by and nothing seems to shift. The human mind says, maybe this doesn't work. But the spiritual mind must respond. I will not plant seeds and dig them up every day to see if they've grown. Delays are not denials. They are reflections of your current level of belief, your subconscious resistance, or the time needed for the outer world to reshape itself around your new inner structure. Your job isn't to manage timing. Your job is to persist. Neville Goddard. Persistence in assumption. Neville taught that your outer world always catches up with your dominant assumption, but only if you persist in it. This persistence is not forcing. It's simply remaining faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled. He said, a change of feeling is a change of destiny. And that, persistence in imagining your wish fulfilled, is the secret of success. This means you must live in the feeling of already having your desire and keep returning to it, no matter how things appear. Even if nothing changes, even if the world shows you the opposite, your task is to mentally and emotionally stand in the end. The moment you react to what is, you've dropped your assumption. The moment you return to the feeling of already done, you've stepped back into creation. Persistence is how you water the seed. Doubt is what scorches it. Emmet Fox. Faith as the substance. Emmet Fox offered one of the clearest definitions of faith through his interpretation of Hebrews 11 verse 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. He emphasized that faith is not a vague belief. It is the actual creative substance, the energetic raw material, out of which your desire is formed. He explained, faith is spiritual knowing. Faith is feeling that the thing is already so. Faith is not needing physical proof, because the inner certainty is enough. Fox also taught that when we get discouraged, it's because we've taken our eyes off the invisible truth and placed them on the visible illusion. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when we think it's not working. But in truth, we've just stopped working it. Handling doubts and external contradictions. It's normal to have moments of fear, confusion, or impatience. The world may show you the opposite of what you desire. People may doubt your dream. Your own mind may mock your imagination. Here's how to handle it. 1. Don't argue with reality. If something contradictory shows up, don't fight it. Don't try to fix it. Simply withdraw your emotional energy and return to the invisible truth of what you know within. Reacting strengthens the illusion. Ignoring it weakens its grip. 2. Doubt is not a stop sign, just a signal. When you feel doubt, see it not as a failure, but as a signpost. This is the point where I used to give up. Not this time. Let that moment of doubt become your pivot back to faith. 3. Shorten the time between doubt and recalibration. You will have stray thoughts. That's human. What matters is how fast you return to your center. With practice, you'll spend less time in fear and more time in faith. 4. Refuse to make fear your counselor. Don't make decisions based on worry. If you're afraid, wait. Don't act, speak, or change course from a fearful state. Real guidance flows from peace, not panic. 5. Surround yourself with faith atmosphere. Read something uplifting daily. Repeat your affirmations. Keep your vision fresh. Create a space, mentally and physically, where your dream is nourished, not ridiculed. You are the guardian of your consciousness. Practical steps to strengthen spiritual confidence. Faith is not just something you either have or don't have. Like a muscle, it can be trained and strengthened with daily habits. Try these. 1. Daily in-scene visualization. Spend 5 minutes imagining the final moment of your fulfilled desire. The smile on your face. The congratulations from others. The feeling of deep satisfaction. Do this not to make it happen, but to enter the state of already having it. 2. Affirmation anchors. Use short, powerful statements to realign your belief throughout the day. I walk by faith, not by sight. It is already mine. My inner state creates my outer world. Say them with emotion. Write them. Feel them. 3. The already done journaling method. Write journal entries as if your desire is already fulfilled. I'm so grateful to be living in my dream home. Every morning, I wake up feeling peaceful and proud of what I've created. This tricks your subconscious into accepting the new identity and reprograms your vibration. Act as if, without forcing or faking. Begin to take small steps that match the energy of the fulfilled version of you. Dress like someone who feels successful. Walk with the posture of someone confident. Make decisions from abundance, not fear. This is not about pretending. It's about becoming. 5. Detach from how and when. Faith doesn't obsess over timing. It knows. My part is to believe. The universe's part is the unfolding. Let go of micromanaging the process. Let the outcome unfold in ways far better than your mind can script. Closing reflection. Faith is the bridge. Faith is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you're going. It is not blind. It sees with higher eyes. It is not weak. It moves mountains. It is not waiting. It is claiming. When doubt comes, don't resist it. Replace it. Replace it with the image of the end already achieved. Replace it with the words of truth already spoken. Replace it with the feeling of victory already felt. Because when you sustain the invisible, the visible must bow. The power of forgiveness and release. If your prosperity seems stuck, your mind might be holding a grudge your heart has already forgotten. Unforgiveness is like carrying a stone in your spiritual pocket. It weighs down your energy, clouds your vibration, and blocks the channels of abundance. You may be affirming wealth, visualizing success, and declaring spiritual truths, but if there's bitterness, guilt, or resentment in your emotional field, your supply gets jammed. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's power. It's the reset button of spiritual creation. It clears the past so that the present can bloom. Let's explore how Neville Goddard and Emmet approach forgiveness, not as moral advice, but as a spiritual technology for liberation and prosperity. How resentment blocks abundance. Resentment is a repeated inner conversation of pain. Each time you replay the story, what they did, what they didn't do, how unfair it was, you re-energize that vibration. Here's why that matters spiritually. You can't attract abundance while holding poverty-based emotions. Resentment, blame, and guilt are rooted in fear and lack. You're always radiating something. Your emotional frequency either opens or closes the flow of good into your life. Whatever you dwell on, you magnetize. Holding on to a wrong keeps you tied to its echo, which keeps similar patterns returning. Unforgiveness says, the past controls me. Forgiveness says, I reclaim my energy. I cut the cord. I choose freedom now. Forgiveness is not condoning wrong behavior. It's choosing not to carry the poison forward. Neville Goddard's teaching on revision. Neville introduced a powerful practice called revision, a spiritual tool to rewrite the past. His teaching, your memory is not fixed reality. It's an inner construct. By changing how you remember an event, you alter your internal state, and your external reality begins to shift. Change the past by imagining it differently. Then dwell in the new memory until it becomes natural. Let's say someone betrayed you. Instead of reliving the betrayal, revise the event. See it in peacefully. Imagine them blessing you instead of hurting you. Feel compassion for their ignorance, not rage at their action. When you revise, you're not denying what happened. You're denying its continued control over your emotional state. Forgiveness through revision is powerful because it transforms your inner narrative. Once the sting is removed from memory, the vibration of abundance can rise again. Emmet Fox's forgiveness prayer. Emmet Fox offered a potent formula for release. He taught that mental freedom is the key to spiritual growth and prosperity, and nothing blocks the mind more than resentment. Here's a shortened version of his forgiveness prayer. I fully and freely forgive everyone, including myself. I let go of all bitterness, blame, or condemnation. I radiate love, peace, and goodwill to all. I am free, and they are free. I now go free into a glorious new experience. This isn't just words. It's a vibrational reset. Emmet emphasized, you don't need the other person to apologize. You don't even need to speak to them. You only need to release the emotion within yourself. Do this prayer daily, even if your mind resists. Do it until the charge softens. You'll feel when the shift happens, and when it does, your outer world will follow. Releasing old debts, guilt, and fear of lack. Forgiveness isn't only for others. Often, it's yourself you need to forgive. For the money mistakes. For wasting time. For letting someone take advantage of you. For thinking small. You can't punish yourself into prosperity. You can't guilt yourself into growth. You must release the story of failure and open to the new identity. Here's what to release for abundance. 1. Old financial debts, energetically. Maybe someone owes you money. Maybe you owe someone emotionally. Whatever the form, release the grip it has on you. Say, I release all attachments and trust divine order to handle all debts with grace. 2. Guilt over past choices. Mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. What matters is what you do now. Say, I forgive myself completely. I grow wiser with every step. 3. Fear that more won't come. This is subtle but deadly. You hoard, hesitate, and block flow when you fear lack. Say, I trust the source of all supply. It never runs dry. When you forgive, you clean your spiritual pipeline. What was once stuck begins to flow naturally again. A simple forgiveness ritual to open the supply channel. Here's a ritual you can do anytime you feel heavy, resentful, or stuck in past pain. It can be done silently or aloud, once a day or whenever needed. Step 1. Create a safe space. Sit comfortably. Light a candle if you wish. Place your hands over your heart. Close your eyes. Step 2. Bring the person or situation to mind. See their face in your inner eye. Feel the emotion without suppressing or judging it. Step 3. Say the forgiveness declaration. I choose to forgive you. I choose to release you. You no longer have power over my energy. I set you free, and I set myself free. I forgive myself for all past mistakes. I deserve peace. I deserve wealth. I deserve freedom. It is done. Repeat this with sincerity. Adjust the words to suit your heart. Step 4. Visualize the channel of supply opening. Now imagine a golden river of light flowing from above, entering your crown, washing down your body, and clearing every stuck, dark, or heavy space. See it flowing out from your hands, feet, and heart, back into the world, carrying only love. Step 5. In with gratitude. Open your eyes. Smile softly. Say, thank you. I am free. I am open. I am ready to receive. Closing reflection. Forgiveness is spiritual wealth. You cannot enter a new life carrying old pain. You cannot receive new abundance with clenched fists. Forgiveness is the key that opens the vault. Neville revised his past. Fox forgave with prayer. You can do both. And when you do, watch how doors open, money flows, people shift, and peace returns. Let go. Not for them. For you. Because your true wealth is not what you have. It's what you're free from. Visualization as a daily spiritual practice. Most people treat visualization like a quick wish. But when done correctly, it becomes a sacred spiritual practice, a daily return to the truth of who you really are and what you're divinely meant to experience. Visualization isn't about fantasy. It's about conscious creation. And when used as a spiritual discipline, especially with the teachings of Neville Goddard and Emmet Fox, it can transform not just your desires, but your identity, your emotions, your energy, and your entire atmosphere of life. Let's explore how to turn visualization into a daily practice of power, peace, and prosperity. How to create a sacred space for inner work. First, understand this. You're not just seeing images when you visualize. You are reshaping reality from within. To amplify that process, create a physical and energetic space where your mind and spirit feel safe and expansive. Start by selecting a quiet corner, somewhere you won't be interrupted. This doesn't have to be fancy. A chair near a window, a cushion by your bed, or even a space on the floor with a small cloth can become sacred. Enhance the space with a candle or soft lighting, a crystal or object that symbolizes abundance or clarity, a journal nearby for reflections. Optional, gentle instrumental music or silence. Why do this? Because when you consistently return to the same space with focused intention, that area starts to hold a spiritual charge. It becomes easier to enter deep states of imagination because the body and mind recognize, here I create. Neville's ladder technique and sleep time imagination. Neville Goddard famously said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagination creates reality. He taught that the most powerful time to visualize is when you're drowsy, right before sleep, or just as you're waking. These moments slip past the critical conscious mind and impress the subconscious directly. One of Neville's most famous techniques was the ladder experiment. He told his students to visualize climbing a ladder before sleep, feeling the texture, the motion, the sensation, while affirming, I will not climb a ladder. Within days, they found themselves climbing one accidentally. Why did this work? Because the subconscious responds to feeling, not words. By entering a sleepy state and feeling the reality as done, the imagination bypassed logic, and the world conformed. Do this with your own goals. Want wealth? Feel the weight of money in your hand. Desire love? Feel someone's arms around you. Want success? Hear applause, see the email, sense the thrill. The key: enter a drowsy state and live in the scene, night after night. Emmet Fox's visualization for clarity. Emmet Fox approached visualization through the lens of mental clarity and divine truth. He taught that visualization should always be pure, joyful, and centered in truth, never driven by desperation, but by inspiration. One of his simple practices was to visualize light. Visualize a brilliant white light flooding your mind and heart. This is the presence of God. This light dissolves confusion, error, and fear. It brings divine ideas and perfect outcomes. Fox emphasized that when you focus on divine ideas, not just material wants, you shift from ego creation to spiritual alignment. From there, your outer life rearranges effortlessly. Use this when you feel stuck. Visualize a golden white light entering your head, clearing thoughts, opening intuition, and creating inner stillness. From that stillness, your next steps appear. Best times to visualize and why the drowsy state is powerful. Visualization works best when the conscious mind is quiet. That's why Neville emphasized these two sacred windows. Just before sleep, just after waking. These bridge states between waking and sleep are known as the hypnagogic and hypnopompic states. In them, your brainwaves slow down. You're highly suggestible, yet deeply relaxed. That's when your subconscious is most open to impression. Other powerful times to visualize: after meditation or breath work, during a long walk in nature, after prayer or worship, while journaling in a calm, candlelit space, when feeling deep emotion, joy, gratitude, longing. You don't need hours. Just 5 to 10 intentional minutes in these states can do more than hours of conscious effort. Sample guided visualization for abundance. Let's walk through a daily spiritual visualization practice designed for abundance. You can speak this aloud or read it silently. Step 1. Center yourself. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Let go of any thoughts about the day. Feel your body relax. Release tension from your shoulders, jaw, and hands. Say to yourself, I now enter the sacred space of creation. All is well. All is unfolding perfectly. Step 2. Create the scene. Now, imagine a version of you that already lives in abundance. You wake up in peace. Your home feels calm and beautiful. You look around and everything feels aligned. Money in the bank, opportunities flowing, loved ones surrounding you. What are you wearing? What does your space smell like? Sound like? Let the scene unfold naturally. Don't force it. Allow it to feel real. Step 3. Embody the feeling. Now step into that version of yourself. Feel the security, the confidence, the joy. You have enough. More is coming. You are in the divine flow. Feel the gratitude in your heart. Let your body soften with relief. Say, I am one with infinite supply. It flows to me now and always. Step 4. Anchor the energy. Place your hand over your heart and say, thank you. I now accept this as real. It is done. Open your eyes slowly. Smile gently. Go about your day with the energy of what you just saw. Closing reflection. Visualization is spiritual rehearsal. When you visualize daily, you're not just wishing, you're rehearsing. You're attuning your inner state to the outcome you desire. You're building emotional muscle memory for success, peace, and joy. Neville said, live in the end. Fox said, fill your mind with divine images. You can do both. See what you want, feel it now, and return to it daily. Soon, your world will have no choice but to reflect it. Would you like me to turn this into a YouTube voiceover script, a 15-minute visualization audio meditation, a daily visualization journal template? Spiritual wealth versus material chasing. In today's world, the chase for material possessions, money, status, success, can feel like the only game that matters. We're bombarded with messages that equate self-worth with net worth, and hustle is glorified as the highest virtue. But there's a quieter, deeper truth beneath the surface, one that Neville Goddard and Emmet both understood intimately. Money is a byproduct, not the destination. Spiritual wealth, not material accumulation, is the real source of peace, prosperity, and lasting fulfillment. Let's explore this truth in depth and understand how aligning with spiritual principles naturally brings about material blessings, without the exhausting chase. The illusion of the chase. When money is pursued as an end in itself, it often leads to burnout, emptiness, or moral compromise. You may gain wealth, but lose your health. You may get recognition, but feel disconnected from purpose. You may accumulate things, but never feel satisfied. Why? Because what the soul truly desires is not paper, objects, or applause. It craves expression, alignment, freedom, and expansion. Chasing money without inner harmony is like running after your shadow. The more you chase it, the more it runs from you. But when you stand still in your light, when you become deeply aligned, the shadow naturally follows. Neville's parable of true riches. Neville Goddard often spoke of true riches as states of consciousness, not stacks of cash. He shared a powerful idea. What you experience on the outside is a direct reflection of what you accept as true within. If you feel poor inwardly, poor in love, poor in vision, poor in gratitude, your outer world must match that inner script. But if you dwell in a state of abundance, if you feel rich in imagination, peace, and purpose, then the external world rearranges itself to mirror your spiritual wealth. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, Neville taught. Lie from the end. He didn't say chase success or work harder. He said to become the person who already has it, in feeling, in consciousness, and in quiet conviction. And from that inner alignment, material support begins to appear, not because you chased it, but because you no longer needed to. Emmet, seek first the kingdom. Emmet was just as clear on this point. He quoted the words of Jesus, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Fox interpreted the kingdom of God not as a faraway heaven, but as an inner state of divine order, peace, and alignment. When you focus on becoming spiritually centered, material needs take care of themselves. You stop begging the universe and start commanding it, because you're operating from truth, not fear. Fox emphasized that spiritual laws govern material outcomes, and when those laws are obeyed inwardly, prosperity must follow outwardly. Not might, must. Desire aligned with divine purpose. There's nothing wrong with wanting money, comfort, or recognition. In fact, desire is a sacred force. But when desire is born from insecurity, fear, or ego, it becomes chaotic. It drives us to take action from desperation or lack. But when desire is born from your divine self, from love, joy, creativity, or service, it becomes magnetic. It carries divine intelligence. It leads to right action, right timing, and sustainable results. Ask yourself, is my desire aligned with my spiritual values? Does it uplift me and others? Does it reflect the higher version of who I'm becoming? When your desire aligns with divine purpose, you don't have to force things. You flow with them. And that's when doors open without struggle. How spiritual wealth brings material flow. Let's get practical. Here's how spiritual wealth, when cultivated consistently, naturally creates material results. 1. You become more intuitive. When you're spiritually tuned in, you hear guidance clearly, whether through dreams, sudden knowing, or inner nudges. You make better financial decisions, not from logic alone, but from inspired insight. 2. You radiate a magnetic energy. Peaceful, grateful people attract opportunities. They don't repel others with desperation. They become trusted, influential, and supported because their vibration is stable and strong. 3. You waste less energy. Chasing money burns you out. Aligning with purpose energizes you. When you work from inspiration, not fear, you produce more in less time and attract what others are chasing. 4. You take right action. Spiritual wealth gives you discernment. You know when to act and when to wait. You stop trying everything and start doing the one thing that works, because you're being led, not pushed. 5. You dissolve money blocks. Most financial problems aren't caused by lack of opportunity. They're caused by fear, guilt, unworthiness, or inherited beliefs. Spiritual practice dissolves these inner blocks, allowing wealth to finally land. A new definition of wealth. Wealth is not just having a full bank account. It's having a full heart. It's waking up in peace. It's working from joy, not survival. It's knowing you're supported by life. It's living in harmony with your truth. When you build your foundation on that kind of wealth, material blessings come. Often unexpectedly, often in abundance, and always in right alignment. Money becomes a servant, not a master. Success becomes a byproduct, not a burden. You stop chasing and start receiving. Daily practice for spiritual wealth. Here's a simple practice to anchor this truth. Morning reflection, 5 minutes. Ask, who do I choose to be today? Declare, I am aligned with divine order. I am already abundant. Visualize yourself moving through the day with ease, joy, and confidence. See people smiling. See opportunities unfolding. Throughout the day, anytime you feel fear, return to this thought. I seek first the kingdom. Everything else follows. Evening check-in, 3 minutes. What did I do today that felt in alignment? What was driven by fear or lack? How can I return to spiritual wealth tomorrow? Final reflection. When you live from spiritual wealth, you stop striving to get and start allowing yourself to receive. You realize that abundance isn't earned by panic or punishment. It's revealed when you remember who you are, a divine being with infinite access to supply. Neville showed us the power of inner assumption. Fox reminded us of the primacy of spiritual law. Now it's your turn to embody the truth. You're not here to chase crumbs. You are here to command overflow, not from ego, but from alignment. When you seek the kingdom within, everything else will find you. Inner speech, the silent shaper of reality. In every moment, we are engaged in an inner dialogue, a stream of silent self-talk that we often don't even realize is running. Yet this inner speech is not just idle chatter. It is creative, directive, and magnetic. It shapes our emotional state, our decisions, our energy, and most importantly, our reality. As both Neville Goddard and Emmet taught, the world you experience is a mirror reflecting your most persistent inner conversations. Change what you repeatedly say to yourself, and you'll change your entire life. Neville's insight. Inner conversations become outer facts. Neville was clear and uncompromising. Your inner speech, from premises of fulfilled desire, is the condition that determines your world. He emphasized that our outer world doesn't just reflect our actions. It reflects the assumptions we whisper to ourselves when no one is listening. These silent scripts run 24/7 and create conditions that match their tone. Think of your mind like a movie projector. Whatever film is playing in the inner world, whether fear, doubt, faith, or confidence, gets projected onto the screen of your life. If you're consistently arguing for your limitations internally, I never have enough, people don't respect me, things never go right for me, the world has no choice but to comply with your internal verdict. The key, Neville said, is not to silence all thoughts, but to assume and persist in the inner dialogue of your fulfilled desire. To speak in your mind as if what you want is already true, not as a fantasy, but as a living, breathing fact. Emmet Fox, watch your words like a hawk. Emmet Fox extended this idea to both spoken and unspoken language. He urged, watch your words. Every word you speak sets something into motion. He was deeply aware that language holds creative power. When we speak, especially when we speak emotionally charged words, we invoke. Whether it's a quiet muttering of lack, a casual complaint, or a loud affirmation, we're always instructing the invisible forces of life to take shape accordingly. Fox believed that careless or negative words are like planting poison seeds in the garden of our mind. You may not see the effect instantly, but give it time. The harvest always comes. He offered a beautiful challenge. Speak only words of health, wealth, joy, and truth for 7 days, and watch how your life begins to change. This principle applies even more subtly to inner speech, where most people unconsciously program failure, fear, and frustration, and then wonder why life reflects the same energy back. Identifying lack conscious self-talk. Before transformation comes awareness. You can't change what you don't recognize. Start by noticing the voice in your head when you check your bank balance. You look in the mirror. You're about to speak in public. You think about your future. Someone compliments you. Something goes wrong unexpectedly. What's the first automatic response? Is it empowering? Or is it lack-based? Common forms of lack-conscious self-talk include, I'm not good enough for this. This always happens to me. I can't afford that. No one really cares about what I have to say. I need someone else to save me. These aren't just harmless thoughts. They're energetic instructions. If repeated often enough, they turn into beliefs. And beliefs become the blueprint of your lived experience. Transforming inner dialogue into prosperity affirmations. Once you become aware of the negative inner dialogue, The next step is to re-script it consciously. This isn't about chanting positive words blindly. It's about training the inner voice to match the life you want to live. Here's how to begin. 1. Flip the statement. Take a negative or fearful thought and flip it on its head. For example, I never have enough. I always have more than enough. No one listens to me. My voice is valued and heard. Things never work out. Everything is always working in my favor. 2. Speak in the present tense. Your subconscious responds best to present tense language. Don't say, I will be rich. Say, I am prosperous now. 3. Add feeling. Words without feeling are like seeds without water. Imagine the result, feel in your body, and say it like it's true. Emotion is the fuel that makes your affirmations magnetic. 4. Persist. Inner speech habits don't change overnight. You've been running your current script for years. It takes persistence, not perfection. Every time you catch yourself slipping, simply correct the course. 24-hour inner speech awareness challenge. If you want to experience just how powerful your inner dialogue is, here's a bold challenge inspired by the teachings of both Neville and Fox. The rule. For the next 24 hours, monitor every inner conversation. Here's how. Set a strong intention. Tell yourself, today I become the master of my inner speech. Carry a small notebook or open a note app on your phone. Every time you catch yourself thinking a negative or fearful thought, jot it down. Then write a new, empowering version next to it. End the day with a short reflection. What did you learn about your default inner tone? What surprised you? What felt different when you shifted your inner dialogue? You'll likely be shocked at how many quiet, self-sabotaging thoughts pass through your mind unnoticed. But this challenge will awaken your inner observer and help you regain conscious control. The voice within is always creating. Here's the truth. You are already using inner speech all day long. The only question is, what are you building with it? If your internal tone is critical, fearful, or hopeless, your outer reality must reflect that. If your internal voice becomes loving, bold, and prosperous, then life will respond in kind. You don't need to shout affirmations or fake positivity. Just become more aware of your silent assumptions. That's where the shift begins. Remember Neville's words. The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. And Fox's wisdom. Change your thought, and you change your circumstances. You don't have to fight the outside world. You don't have to work yourself into the ground. You only have to train the voice inside to speak as if your desires are already real. And then, quietly, steadily, life will begin to match your new inner tone. Overcoming fear and anxiety about money. Fear is a powerful emotion. And when it comes to money, it can feel like a monster lurking in the background of your mind, whispering worst-case scenarios, tightening your chest, and clouding your ability to make clear, confident decisions. But here's the truth that both Neville Goddard and Emmet Fox knew and taught. Fear is not a protector. It is a magnet. What you fear, you draw near, especially in the realm of finances. If you're anxious about money running out, or afraid of losing what you have, or constantly worrying about bills, debt, or the future, you are unknowingly energizing the very circumstances you're trying to avoid. Why fear of loss magnetizes more loss? Fear is emotionally charged focus, and focus is what shapes experience. When you fixate on lack, whether it's a shrinking bank account, rising expenses, or the thought that there's never enough, you energize that condition. The universe doesn't respond to your desires alone. It responds to your dominant emotional state. Your energy field is always broadcasting. When it broadcasts fear of loss, it attracts more situations that reflect that emotional tone. Sudden expenses, delayed payments, missed opportunities, financial instability, feelings of powerlessness. It's not punishment, it's precision. Life gives you back what you vibrate, not what you wish for in a moment of hope. This is why one of the most important spiritual disciplines is learning to detach from financial fear and reconnect with the truth of security that lies within. Neville Goddard's assumption of security as protection. Neville taught that assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the fastest way to manifest your desire. If you want financial abundance, don't wait for the outer world to show it. Assume it internally first. One of his most overlooked insights is how this inner assumption not only draws wealth, but also repels loss and protects your current assets. Feel yourself surrounded by all you wish to experience. Rest in that assumption. The outer world will reshape itself to match it. If you walk through the world carrying the feeling that you are safe, provided for, and backed by divine supply, then the world has no choice but to conform. Fear says, what if I lose it all? Faith says, everything I need flows to me exactly when I need it. When you embody a state of inner financial security, you stop leaking energy to fear-based scenarios. You protect your mind, and in doing so, you protect your prosperity. Emmet Fox, no power but God. Emmet offered a radical but liberating spiritual truth. There is no power but God. When he said this, he didn't mean it in a religious or dogmatic sense. He meant that the only real cause behind anything is the divine intelligence that animates all life. Fear, recession, job loss, inflation, or economic downturns may appear real, but they are effects, not causes. Fox taught that when you put your faith in money itself, you are building on sand. But when you put your trust in the source behind all money, you stand on unshakable ground. Money is a symbol. God, or the infinite, divine, spirit, whatever you call it, is the source. When fear of money rises, Fox recommended saying silently but firmly, "There is no power but God. I am safe. I am guided. I am supplied." He believed that fear cannot live in a mind that is anchored to divine order, replacing anxiety with calm certainty. Let's be clear. The goal isn't to pretend fear doesn't exist. The goal is to interrupt it, replace it, and stabilize your nervous system so you can respond, not react. Here's how you begin to move from anxiety to certainty. 1. Catch the spiral. Fear often begins as a whisper. What if this money doesn't last? What if the client backs out? What if I can't pay rent next month? Left unchecked, it turns into a spiral. Your job is to interrupt it early. As soon as you notice the anxiety rising, pause. Don't chase the thought. Don't argue with it. Just witness it like a cloud passing through the sky. 2. Speak the truth. Speak a sentence that brings you back to your spiritual foundation. I'm safe. I am provided for. Divine supply flows to me constantly. There is no power but God. These aren't just feel-good affirmations. They are mental reset buttons. They shift your energy from fear to alignment. 3. Assume the feeling. Close your eyes and imagine how it would feel to be completely financially secure. Not just safe, but overflowing. Imagine what that would feel like in your body. Calm breath, soft belly, relaxed shoulders. Stay in that emotional state for a minute or two. That's your new baseline. That's the frequency you want to carry into your day. Practical breathing and mental reset techniques. To ground all of this spiritually, you need practical tools to shift your nervous system out of fear and into safety. 1. Box breathing, 4-4-4-4. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold empty for 4 seconds. Do this for 4 to 5 rounds. It slows the heart rate and calms the mind. 2. Touch point anchoring. Gently touch the center of your chest while breathing deeply. As you breathe, repeat, I am safe. I am supported. I am supplied. Doing this physically helps ground the affirmation into the body. 3. Mental image reset. When anxiety about money hits, visualize a golden waterfall of abundance pouring over you. See yourself smiling, free of worry, living in peace. Hold that vision for 60 seconds. Do this every time the fear arises. You're not escaping reality. You're shifting the channel to one that aligns with truth, not illusion. You are not your bank account. Your worth is not tied to your income. Your future is not dictated by the balance in your account today. You're not trapped by what's currently visible. Fear tells you, this is all there is. Spirit tells you, I can give you more than you can ask or imagine. When you trust in divine supply, when you speak only what you want to experience, and when you take care of your inner state, money becomes your servant, not your master. The world may shake, but your foundation will stand firm. Not because of the economy, not because of luck, but because you chose faith over fear and truth over appearances. Let this become your mantra whenever anxiety arises. There is no power but God. I am always provided for. How to grow what you have spiritually and materially. There's a powerful spiritual law that runs quietly beneath the surface of every successful, fulfilled, and abundant life. It is the law of increase, and when you understand it, it becomes the engine behind expansion in health, wealth, love, and purpose. This law says, what you bless appreciates. What you focus on with gratitude and faith multiplies. This is not just a feel-good concept. It is a fundamental principle of spiritual causation. Whether you're starting with a little or a lot, how you perceive and respond to what you have right now is what determines how much more life gives you. Gratitude as a multiplier. Gratitude is not a passive emotion. It's an activator. It tells the subconscious mind and the divine source, this is good. This is enough. This is growing. And the universe, which always amplifies your state of being, responds by expanding your experience to reflect that. Most people make the mistake of waiting to feel grateful after things improve. But gratitude is not a reward. It's a seed. You plant it first, and then the fruit comes later. When you feel genuinely thankful for even the smallest blessings, your breath, your food, the few dollars in your wallet, you are spiritually fertilizing them to increase. It's not about pretending. It's about tuning in to the energy of enoughness and blessing what is. Neville Goddard's imagination of overflow. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the creative power behind all reality. He said, to imagine the wish fulfilled is to set in motion the forces of creation. To apply the law of increase, Neville would have you imagine not just having more, but already living in a state of overflow. You don't beg the universe for more. You assume it's already yours. For example, if you want more money, imagine yourself paying bills easily, tipping generously, or seeing your account balance rise. If you want better health, imagine yourself moving with energy, sleeping deeply, smiling in the mirror. If you want more love, imagine joyful connection, trust, laughter, intimacy. The key is to live in the feeling of already having, not someday hoping. In doing so, you multiply what you have by mentally claiming a reality that already exists in the invisible and is now on its way to you. Emmet Fox on blessing what you have. Emmet Fox had a deeply practical teaching around the law of increase. He encouraged people to bless everything they wanted to grow. His famous instruction, bless what you want, curse nothing. If you want more money, bless the money you already have, no matter how little it is. If you want your health to improve, bless your body, even in its pain. If you want a relationship to heal, bless the person involved, mentally and silently. To bless something, in Fox's definition, means to speak good over it, to affirm its divine purpose and potential. Blessing what you have shifts your vibration from resistance to receptivity. It rewires your subconscious from not enough to abundant, and that opens the door for multiplication. How to mentally see everything expanding. Seeing increase is a mental habit, where most people see a small paycheck, a single sale, a basic meal, a struggling business, a quiet day. You train your mind to see the beginning of overflow, the sign of growth, the symbol of future abundance, the evidence of momentum, the calm before expansion. The idea is to look at the seed and see the tree. You don't wait for big things before you feel expansion. You practice seeing expansion in everything. Try this now. Look around your space and mentally say, this is increasing. This is multiplying. Thank you for this. It is growing. This trains your spiritual eye to detect abundance before it becomes visible. That perception alone is what calls the increase in a form. Practice, bless, and multiply daily ritual. Here's a simple 5-minute daily ritual to activate the law of increase. Step 1. Gratitude for what is. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart. Breathe deeply. List 3 things you're genuinely thankful for, no matter how small. Feel the gratitude in your body, not just your mind. Examples. Thank you for the money I have, however small. It is growing. Thank you for the food I ate today. I am nourished. Thank you for the bed I sleep in. I feel safe and blessed. Step 2. Bless what you desire to grow. Now bring to mind one area you want to expand. Money, health, relationships, creativity, opportunities. Silently say, I bless this area of my life. I call it good. I see it multiplying now. Let your words carry faith, not desperation. Speak as if it is already happening. Step 3. Imagination of overflow, Neville style. Spend 60 to 90 seconds imagining that the area you just blessed is already expanded. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What's happening around you? Don't make it complex. Just enter the scene of fulfillment and breathe in that emotional reality. Step 4. Seal it with a declaration. Finish with a short phrase that affirms your alignment with increase. Choose one or create your own. Everything I touch multiplies. Increase flows to me daily. I bless and receive more. Abundance is my spiritual right. Speak it out loud or silently. Then release it with trust. Final thought. You are the increase. You don't have to chase abundance. You are the channel through which it flows. When you bless what you have, imagine overflow, and align with gratitude, you don't force increase, you become it. The law of increase doesn't respond to begging. It responds to faith, perception, and joy. So begin today, not with what you lack, but with what you have. Bless it, thank it, see it growing, and it will. How prosperity flows from inspired thoughts, not just hard work. Real abundance doesn't come from effort alone. It doesn't come just from hustle, hard work, or even strategy. True supply flows from a higher source, from what Neville Goddard called divine ideas, and what Emmet Fox referred to as the riches of the divine mind. If you're constantly chasing money, pushing, struggling, or hitting a wall, it's likely because you're trying to force something that should have been received first through inspiration. This is the forgotten truth about wealth creation. Money is the echo. Divine ideas are the voice. The invisible causes always precede the visible effects. Neville Goddard. Ideas are seeds of manifestation. Neville Goddard taught that ideas are the true seeds of your reality. Every condition in your outer life began as an invisible idea, either accepted consciously or absorbed unconsciously. He said, all transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. The first step in the renewing of the mind is desire. You must want to be different, but that desire must turn into a divine idea, a clear inner concept of a fulfilled state. In Neville's language, a divine idea is not just a thought. It is a felt reality in the imagination, a new assumption, a new identity. Once you accept that idea in your mind, you begin to automatically take actions, attract people, and follow paths that lead to its manifestation. So when it comes to supply, the question isn't, how can I get more money? It's, what divine idea is seeking to express through me? What is already within me that I haven't yet noticed? Emmet Fox, the rich divine mind. Emmet Fox described the universe as being sustained by the divine mind, which contains infinite supply, not just of money or material things, but of ideas, opportunities, insights, and breakthroughs. He said, God is your instant, constant, and abundant supply. But supply comes first through your consciousness. That means the doorway to wealth isn't out there. It's your awareness of divine intelligence within you. When you tune into this mind, through silence, prayer, meditation, or stillness, you receive guidance, nudges, and most importantly, new ideas. You might receive an idea for a business, a solution to a long-standing problem, a thought to reach out to someone, a new way to serve or help others, an insight that leads to massive clarity or income. These are not random. They are the currency of the divine, and they are yours for the receiving. Why abundance comes through inspired action. There's a huge difference between forced action and inspired action. Forced action is reactive. It's driven by fear, scarcity, and the belief that I have to figure this out or else. Inspired action is intuitive. It flows from an inner sense of knowing. It often feels easy, even exciting, even when it requires courage. Inspired action always follows a divine idea. That's why people who tap into their inner guidance often make bold moves that others don't understand. But those moves create results that seem lucky or miraculous. You've likely had this experience. You suddenly feel the urge to send a message to someone, and it leads to a job or sale. You get an idea in the shower, write it down, act on it, and within days, something opens up. You listen to a podcast or reread an old book, and a single phrase triggers a business plan that changes everything. This is how divine supply flows, through your readiness to receive and act on divine ideas, opening your mind to new channels of supply. If you're fixated on just one way money can come, you may block your own abundance. For example, if you only expect money from your salary, you may miss the opportunity for a freelance gig. If you only expect business through Instagram, you may miss someone trying to reach you via email. If you only expect your ideas to come while working, you may miss them in moments of stillness or fun. Emmet Fox often reminded readers that God has a million channels, and your job is not to control the how, but to remain open to new channels of supply. Here's how you stay open. Release rigid thinking. It has to come this way. Let go of timelines. It must happen by Friday. Be willing to try new things, even if they feel uncomfortable at first. Pay attention to inner nudges, repeated signs, or people showing up with similar messages. The more you trust in divine guidance, the more channels begin to open, and the faster supply flows. Meditation to receive divine ideas. Here's a simple daily meditation to align yourself with divine ideas. Duration, 5 to 10 minutes. Ideal time, morning before checking your phone. Step 1, find stillness. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Let your thoughts settle like snow in a globe. Step 2, speak intention silently or out loud. Say to yourself, I open my mind to divine ideas. The wisdom of the infinite mind is available to me now. I am ready to receive inspired thought. Let the words sink into your being. Step 3, enter listening mode. Now just listen. Don't try to think. Just be available, receptive, curious. You may not hear anything immediately, and that's okay. You are training your spiritual receiver to listen beyond noise. Step 4, ask a simple question. In your mind, ask, what do I need to see today? What idea is seeking expression through me? What next step aligns with my divine supply? Then wait in silence. Let impressions, visuals, words, or feelings come gently. Don't force it. Even if nothing arrives now, trust it's been planted. Step 5, write it down. Open your eyes slowly. Grab a notebook and jot down any idea, phrase, image, or thought that came to you. Even if it seems small, write it. Sometimes the tiniest spark leads to the biggest transformation. Final thought, ideas are the true wealth. Everything physical begins as something spiritual. Every building, business, invention, solution, movement, book, and fortune. It all started as an idea. Your supply isn't limited to money in the bank. Your supply is in your mind, waiting to be discovered, honored, and acted on. You don't need to beg the universe. You simply need to become still, open, and ready to receive. One divine idea can change your entire life. How blessing others multiplies your own wealth and well-being. One of the greatest spiritual secrets of prosperity is this. You cannot bless others without blessing yourself. You cannot lift others up without being lifted. In a world often dominated by competition and scarcity, this truth stands in direct opposition to the conventional mindset. But spiritual teachers like Neville Goddard and Emmet understood this universal law. Prosperity is not a finite resource. It expands in proportion to how generously you radiate it to others. When you begin to think in terms of collective abundance, when you choose to imagine success, happiness, and wealth for others, you create a magnetic field around yourself that draws even greater blessings back into your own life. Neville Goddard, imagining lovingly for others. Neville's teachings often emphasize the power of imagination, not just for personal transformation, but for the upliftment of others. One of the core techniques he taught was imagining lovingly for others. This means you see someone in your mind's eye already living their dream. You feel joy for their success as if it's already happened. You assume their prosperity is natural, inevitable, and deserved. Neville explained that everyone is you pushed out, that the outer world reflects your inner assumptions, including how you view others. So when you imagine a friend thriving in their career, or a struggling family member finding peace, or a stranger's business booming, you're not just helping them. You're shifting your own state of consciousness toward abundance and generosity. And that shift, it opens the floodgates of supply in your own life. Think of the joy that would be yours if you could aid a friend in their struggle for recognition. Would you not feel that joy of accomplishment? Neville Goddard, this is not wishful thinking. It is a metaphysical act of creation. By imagining lovingly for others, you are planting the seed of abundance, not only in their lives, but in your own. Emmet, the power of collective upliftment. Emmet took this idea further. He spoke of a divine principle. What you radiate to others returns to you multiplied. Fox believed that the fastest way to receive anything, love, health, wealth, is to give it first mentally, not in a needy or sacrificial way, but from a place of spiritual overflow. He wrote, "You must think prosperity, see prosperity, feel prosperity, and speak prosperity for all the people you meet. This will form a protective shield around you against lack and draw to you prosperity from every direction." Fox often reminded his students that we are all connected through the divine mind, and that when you pray, affirm, or bless others in their abundance, you become a conscious participant in uplifting the collective field. Imagine how different the world would be if instead of jealousy, competition, or resentment, people chose to silently bless the success of others. That choice alone would transform the energy of entire communities. Why helping others prosper multiplies your own wealth. There's a simple spiritual law. What you give out, intentionally or not, comes back multiplied. Most people only associate this with material giving, donations, tithing, acts of service. While those are powerful, mental giving is even more potent because thoughts are causal. When you rejoice in someone's success, especially if it's in an area you're struggling with, you're demonstrating faith in the possibility of prosperity. You're saying, abundance is real and available. If it can happen for them, it can happen for me. I'm not threatened by their gain. I am inspired. This attitude lifts you above envy, comparison, and bitterness, the low vibrations that block prosperity. Instead, it puts you in the state of gratitude, love, and generosity, the frequencies that unlock flow. And here's what makes this so extraordinary. You don't need to say a word to anyone. You can practice this silently, in the checkout line, on social media, in traffic. You can radiate prosperity from your mind like light from the sun. How to mentally bless businesses, people, and environments. You can turn this into a daily spiritual practice. Here are ways to do it. 1. Bless every business you interact with. Next time you're at a cafe, silently think, may this place be filled with happy customers. May the owners prosper. May all who work here be fulfilled. Do the same for shops, delivery apps, and even online businesses. You will begin to notice a shift, not only in how people respond to you, but in how money begins to move toward you. 2. Bless strangers' success. See someone driving a luxury car, living a big home, launching a new project? Instead of reacting with judgment, think, I'm so glad abundance flows to them. May it continue. I bless their success. This simple thought aligns you with the vibration of that wealth. It removes internal resistance. 3. Bless people you love, even those struggling. Think of your friends, family, or colleagues. Even if they're going through hard times, See them already uplifted. Mentally affirm, you are blessed. Money flows to you with ease. You are safe and supported. Your belief in their prosperity helps activate it in the invisible realm. 4. Bless entire spaces. When you walk into a room, enter a building, or pass a neighborhood, pause and silently say, I bless this space with peace and abundance. You're contributing energetically, and in return, you may notice unexpected opportunities, invitations, or insights arising from those very places, creating a ripple effect of abundance. When you consistently radiate prosperity to others, mentally, silently, sincerely, you're creating what could be called a ripple effect of abundance. Like dropping a pebble into still water, your inner vibration sends out concentric waves. Those waves lift others, often without them knowing why. Create unexpected returns of good in your own life. Heal hidden blocks within you tied to jealousy, lack, or self-worth. The best part? You begin to live in a world that mirrors back the prosperity you see in others. Instead of scarcity, you see overflow. Instead of rivalry, you feel connection. Instead of fear, you become a radiator of abundance. Final thought, you prosper as you prosper others. Prosperity is not a solo game. It is a shared current. And the more people you bless, uplift, and imagine abundantly for, the more you open the floodgates in your own life. You become a center of circulation, a conduit, a divine funnel through which good flows outward and then back again. So today, bless someone's business. Imagine your friend receiving unexpected income. Mentally wish success upon a stranger. These acts may seem small, but they are cosmic in consequence. Because when you choose to prosper others, the universe cannot help but say, and you too shall be blessed. Rewriting the hidden blueprint of lack. Every person walks around carrying an invisible map, a subconscious blueprint that quietly directs the course of their life. For some, this map points toward ease, expansion, and abundance. But for many, especially when it comes to money, the map has old roadblocks, detours, and blind spots rooted in limiting beliefs. These beliefs aren't born from logic or experience alone. They're inherited, absorbed, or accepted unconsciously, like dust settling on a clean surface over time. And unless they're cleaned off, they distort everything we try to build. The hidden origins of scarcity thinking. Let's begin by addressing a quiet truth. Most financial struggle begins not in the wallet, but in the mind. Before you ever earn your first paycheck, before you open your first bank account, your subconscious is already forming impressions about money. This happens through overheard conversations, emotional environments, and repeated family patterns. You may have never been told directly how to think about wealth, but the feelings were modeled, subtle, but powerful. Maybe your parents fought over bills. Maybe you watched someone work endlessly, yet never seemed to get ahead. Maybe rich people were always spoken about with suspicion. Or perhaps any desire for more was quietly judged. These early signals sink into your subconscious and become emotional conclusions. I don't deserve that. I'll never have enough. Money causes problems. It's selfish to want more. And because the subconscious accepts without question, you begin to live according to this invisible script, even as an adult trying to thrive. Neville Goddard and the Art of Revision. Neville taught that the past isn't fixed. It only continues to influence us because we keep reliving it mentally. His technique, called revision, is a profound way to transform subconscious beliefs. It works like this. Go back in imagination to a memory that left a negative imprint. Instead of replaying it as it happened, rewrite it. See the scene unfold in a way that empowers you. Feel the shift emotionally as if the revised version were the real event. For example, if you were scolded for wanting something expensive as a child, go back in your mind and imagine being supported instead. Picture your guardian smiling and saying, "Of course you can have that. You're meant to prosper." By revising that inner scene repeatedly, the subconscious begins to accept a new emotional truth. And from that, a new pattern begins to form. Emmet Fox's mental house cleaning. While Neville focused on imagination, Emmet Fox emphasized mental discipline. He believed that our thoughts were like furniture in the home of the mind. If your mental space is cluttered with worn-out beliefs, scarcity, fear, guilt, then no matter how much good tries to enter, it won't find room. Fox encouraged a daily practice of mental house cleaning. Watch your thoughts closely. Interrupt any idea that suggests lack, limitation, or fear. Replace it instantly with a truth of divine abundance. For example, instead of allowing the thought, "I never get ahead," you replace it with, "I'm always in the right place at the right time." Abundance flows easily to me. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about changing the mental soil so new experiences can grow. Reprogramming poverty patterns in the subconscious. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition and emotion. That's why affirmations work. but only when practiced with feeling and persistence. To rewire deep financial blocks, you must identify the exact belief that's running the show, e.g., I'm not worthy of wealth. Replace it with a higher idea, e.g., wealth is my natural state, and I accept it freely. Repeat this new belief with conviction daily, especially when your mind tries to argue otherwise. This process isn't about lying to yourself. It's about returning to a higher truth that was always available, but previously clouded by conditioning. A step-by-step ritual to release limiting beliefs. Here's a simple but powerful ritual you can use to start cleansing your inner world. Step 1. Quiet reflection. Find a space where you won't be disturbed. Sit in silence and ask yourself, what's one belief about money that always seems to sabotage me? Let the answer rise without judgment. Step 2. Trace the emotion. When did you first feel this belief was true? Don't overanalyze, just feel the emotional charge. It may take you to childhood, a heartbreak, or a failure. Step 3. Rewrite the memory. Using Neville's revision technique, close your eyes and reimagine that moment. Instead of rejection or fear, see acceptance and support. Change the tone of the scene. Breathe it in. Step 4. Speak the new truth aloud. Declare a new belief based on that revised moment. Example, I'm no longer that scared child. I am a powerful creator of wealth. Step 5. Daily repetition. Write the new belief and repeat it every morning and night. Add feeling. Add visualization. See yourself already living the truth, letting go of guilt, debt, and deserving issues. One of the sneakiest belief blocks is the feeling that you don't deserve abundance. Maybe you carry guilt over past choices. Maybe you feel indebted to people who sacrificed for you. Maybe you're afraid to surpass your family or community. Maybe deep down, you think spiritual people shouldn't want wealth. All of these are shadows in the mind, echoes of beliefs that no longer serve you. True release comes not through punishment or striving, but through forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. Forgive the system that shaped you. Say aloud, I forgive the past. I release all shame, guilt, and fear. I am now open to receive in full. The new belief becomes the new reality. Once the old belief dissolves, even slightly, something miraculous begins to happen. You'll notice more ease, unexpected ideas, helpful people, doors opening where there used to be walls. Why? Because life doesn't change when the world changes. Life changes when your beliefs change. Prosperity isn't just about having money. It's about becoming the kind of person who expects, welcomes, and shares abundance naturally. And that starts inside. When you dissolve the old, when you clean your mental house, you make space for divine supply to rush in. And it always does, because it was never far away. It was simply waiting for permission. How to stop waiting and start living wealth. One of the greatest traps in the human mind is the belief that abundance is always just a little bit away. It says, I'll feel abundant when I get that job. I'll relax once I've saved enough. I'll feel worthy after I achieve more. This mindset is so common that most don't even realize it's a trap. It feels responsible, logical, safe. But underneath, it delays the experience of wealth. It turns prosperity into a distant finish line that always moves just out of reach. But what if abundance isn't something you have to earn or chase? What if it's something you embody and experience now, without needing a single thing to change externally? The lie of someday thinking, someday, is an illusion dressed as a plan. It tricks people into postponing their peace, joy, and creative power. And the tragedy is that by postponing the feeling of abundance, they unknowingly repel the very abundance they seek. Think about it. If you believe you'll only feel abundant once you have proof, you'll never radiate the energy that attracts wealth. You'll always operate from subtle lack, a vibration of not yet. The universe doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to embodiment. Neville Goddard. Now is the accepted time. Neville taught that your imagination is God in action, and the only time that matters is now. He emphasized this truth again and again. Now is the accepted time. Not tomorrow. Not when things look better. Now. To him, the future doesn't hold your wealth. Your present assumption does. The outer world only reflects the inner state you carry right now. So if you want to experience a life of abundance, you don't wait to become it. You assume it now. You feel it. You walk in it. You think from it. You live as if what you desire is already here, not to pretend, but to activate the deeper truth. Everything already exists in consciousness. Emmet Fox, act rich in consciousness first. While Neville focused on inner assumption, Emmet Fox emphasized mental and emotional alignment. He encouraged people to act rich, not with flashy spending or showmanship, but with dignity, confidence, and generosity of thought. He asked, do you bless the money you have, or do you worry it's not enough? Do you treat yourself with self-respect, or do you shrink in doubt? Do you see others as competition or as co-creators? To Emmet, abundance wasn't about possessions. It was about how you carry yourself. The rich mind attracts rich results. The poor mind repels them, even if it works hard. So he urged people to think richly, speak richly, and walk richly, even before the evidence showed up. Daily habits of an abundant being. Living abundance now isn't just an idea. It's a practice. Here are simple habits that realign you with a wealthy state of being. 1. Morning alignment. Start each day by declaring, I live in a rich, abundant universe, and I am deeply supported. Speak it with feeling. Imagine golden energy filling your body. 2. Speak as if you already have it. Instead of, I hope I get that deal, say, that opportunity is already unfolding for me. Your words shape your expectations. Your expectations shape reality. 3. Bless what you have. Whether it's 100 Indian rupees or $10, treat it like a seed. Bless your wallet. Give thanks before spending. Gratitude amplifies flow. 4. Dress with confidence. You don't need designer labels. Just wear something that makes you feel clean, grounded, and self-respecting. Your outer self influences your inner state. 5. Give generously, even if small. Buy someone tea. Compliment freely. Share a helpful contact. Generosity signals to the subconscious, I have more than enough. 6. Refuse scarcity conversations. Avoid participating in fear-based talk about the economy, lack, or guilt around money. Shift the focus to opportunity and trust. 7. Visualize nightly. Before bed, imagine one scene. You're laughing in a beautiful space, doing work you love, surrounded by ease. Fall asleep in that feeling. The 7-day Live It Now challenge. To embody wealth energy fully, try this practical challenge for just 1 week. Don't aim to be perfect, aim to feel different. Day 1. Dress and walk abundantly. Put on clothes that make you feel elevated. Walk slower. Make eye contact. Sit upright. Today, carry yourself like someone who deeply knows their worth. Day 2. Speak abundantly. No complaining, no self-doubt, no I can't afford. Speak only what uplifts, affirms, and expects more. Day 3. Give freely. Give something today, money, time, praise, encouragement. Release the grip of holding on and feel the expansion. Day 4. Shift your surroundings. Declutter your room. Light incense. Place something beautiful where you'll see it. Signal your subconscious. This is a wealthy, sacred space. Day 5. Celebrate someone else's wealth. See someone doing well. Celebrate them mentally or out loud. Envy repels. Appreciation magnetizes. Day 6. Receive without guilt. Someone gives you a compliment or help. Accept it fully. Say thank you with joy. Train your system to receive without resistance. Day 7. Anchor in joy. Do one thing today just for joy. Not productivity, not gain, just pure enjoyment. Abundance flows when you're already full. The energetic truth, you already are. Living abundance now doesn't mean pretending you have millions or forcing positivity. It means recognizing that you already carry wealth in your consciousness. Your ideas are wealth. Your peace is wealth. Your time, your presence, your joy, that's true abundance. And when you begin living that truth, moment by moment, you shift your vibration. And reality, like a mirror, starts to shift in return. It's not a trick. It's not wishful thinking. It's the law of consciousness. The energy you consistently dwell in is the one life reflects back. So why wait? Choose to live abundance, not someday, but today, because now is always the accepted time. How life confirms that your inner wealth is becoming outer reality. There comes a time on the spiritual path when inner conviction starts to leak into the outer world. It might begin subtly, a chance conversation, a random number on a receipt, or a sudden invitation that feels oddly perfect. At first, these seem coincidental. But if you're attuned, you begin to recognize, this is the echo of something I've felt within. These outer winks from life are not accidents. They're responses. They are spiritual proof that what you've accepted inside is beginning to crystallize. The bridge of incidents. Neville's clue to manifestation in motion. Neville Goddard had a profound phrase for this phenomenon, the bridge of incidents. He explained that when you assume something is true in imagination, life organizes itself in unseen ways to bring it about. But it rarely falls from the sky. Instead, it comes through a series of perfectly timed, ordinary-looking events. You won't always connect the dots in the moment. But later, you'll realize that conversation led to that idea, which led to that call, which led to the thing I desired. This is the bridge. Neville emphasized that once you've planted your desire in imagination, your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to walk calmly across the bridge, trusting that every step is leading you home. Emmet Fox, small proofs come first. While Neville described sweeping inner conviction, Emmet Fox comforted people with this idea. Before big manifestations, you'll receive small proofs. You might get a minor refund just when you're feeling financially uplifted. You could overhear a stranger speak your exact affirmation. You may stumble upon an opportunity that matches your mental picture. Fox taught that these aren't almosts or not quites. They're first fruits, a kind of energetic receipt that says, your order has been received. The rest is on the way. These small signs help build spiritual confidence. And more importantly, they confirm that your mental work is working. Why the universe sends you signs. When you begin living from a new inner assumption, your external world must eventually match it. But because the outer world takes time to reorganize, the first phase of manifestation comes in hints, signals, and setups. These are not random. Signs are like footprints on the sand before the wave hits. Evidence that movement has begun. They show that something beneath the surface has shifted. They also serve another vital purpose. They encourage you to stay the course. Most people abandon their assumptions too early. They plant the seed, but dig it up in doubt before it sprouts. But those who notice and honor the signs, however small, tend to persist. They water their vision with gratitude. And eventually, they reap a harvest, staying calm while the signs unfold. The hardest part of manifestation is the in-between, that strange space where you've declared your desire, begun living from it, but the outside world hasn't caught up yet. This is where many people falter. They let doubt creep in. They overanalyze. They chase confirmation. But chasing proof pushes it away. Spiritual proof isn't hunted, it's received. The key is to remain emotionally neutral and deeply grateful. Not neutral as in numb, but neutral as in non-attached. You've already accepted it within. So whether it appears today or 2 months from now, you rest in the knowing it is done. Emmet Fox often reminded his readers that if something takes longer than expected, it's not because the process failed. It's usually because your faith is still being shaped to hold it properly. So in the waiting, don't wait. Live, give, love, grow. Your desire is on the way, but so are many gifts in the meantime. How to track and document synchronicities. One of the most empowering ways to build your spiritual faith is to record the synchronicities that show up. Why? Because the mind forgets. It dismisses. It downplays. But when you have physical evidence, entries, dates, stories, you begin to build a personal case for the invisible. Start a small notebook, voice memo, or notes app and label it. Harvest journal or signs and proof log. Each time something meaningful happens, write it down. Saw the exact phrase from my affirmation on a billboard. Someone gave me money out of the blue, just after I affirmed unexpected income. Felt deep peace today for no reason. First time in weeks. These are not coincidences. They are ripples of your internal state breaking the surface. The more you record them, the more you'll see them. The more you see them, the more faith you'll have. The more faith you have, the faster things flow. Examples of real-life bridges and signs. Let's bring this alive. 1. The closed door that was really a redirect. A woman visualized getting a job in her dream company. She felt the role, lived the gratitude, acted the part. Then she got rejected. She was devastated, but she kept assuming her worth and imagined abundance in a new scene. 3 weeks later, a better job in the same industry, with higher pay and better hours, came from a former coworker she hadn't spoken to in years. The first door wasn't denial. It was realignment. 2. The random conversation that opened a portal. A man struggling with scarcity began mentally blessing his money and affirming abundance. 2 days later, at a coffee shop, a stranger struck up a conversation. That stranger introduced him to someone who would later become his first investor. No business cards, no strategy, just flow. These aren't fairy tales. They're the natural results of spiritual alignment. Final reminder, don't worship the signs. While signs are beautiful, they are not the goal. They are breadcrumbs on the path, not the destination. It's easy to get addicted to seeking signs, angel numbers, symbols, messages. But don't let the chase replace the deeper work, living from the end in peace and faith. Let signs surprise you. Let synchronicity delight you. But let your deepest confidence come not from what you see, but from what you've decided within. That's the truest proof of all. You no longer need outer evidence to believe. You are the evidence. And when that's your state, harvest is not a question. It's just a matter of time. Living as the source, not the seeker. At the end of every spiritual journey, there comes a realization that changes everything. Not just our circumstances, but our identity. The truth is this: you were never chasing abundance. You were it. The money, health, relationships, and peace you sought were never separate from you. They were expressions of your state of consciousness. And now, you've reclaimed your place, not as a beggar of life, but as its deliberate co-creator. When you integrate the teachings of visualization, deep feeling, and gratitude into your daily rhythm, you're not practicing prosperity anymore. You're living it. It becomes automatic like breathing, You no longer try to create abundance. You express it. The trinity of manifestation, visualization, feeling, and gratitude. If there's one formula that unites the great teachers, Neville Goddard, Emmet Fox, Florence Scovel Shinn, Joseph Murphy, it is this sacred trinity. See it, visualization. Feel it, emotional acceptance. Think it, gratitude, as confirmation. Visualization creates the blueprint. Feeling activates the structure. Gratitude seals the deal. You can't imagine wealth and feel fear and expect abundance. You can't thank the universe with your words while resenting your life in secret. The trinity must be united. The image, the emotion, and the thanks must become one. When these three are part of your inner world daily, life no longer feels like something you survive. It becomes something you sculpt. Neville's final word. Consciousness is the only reality. As Neville Goddard taught again and again, consciousness is the only reality. This wasn't metaphorical. He meant it literally. Whatever you are conscious of being, rich, poor, healthy, broken, loved, ignored, will reflect outward in your experiences. Your job isn't to control the outer world. Your job is to go within and change your concept of self. When you assume a new identity inwardly, the world reorganizes to reflect that assumption. So instead of asking, how do I get more money? Ask, what state of consciousness does money belong to? Can I become it now? Instead of asking, when will love come? Ask, can I embody the frequency of unconditional love today? The moment you embody a new reality inside, you've claimed it, and the outer will follow in divine order. Emmet Fox's reassurance, no lack in divine mind. While Neville focused on imagination and assumption, Emmet Fox anchored people in faith, faith that divine mind never withholds. Fox reminded us that lack isn't real. It's a belief, a hypnotic illusion passed from mind to mind, generation to generation. But the truth is that God, divine mind, is always abundance itself. He wrote, there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough faith will not heal, no door that enough understanding will not open. This means your supply is spiritual, not material. It comes from the infinite intelligence within you, not from the economy, a boss, a client, or a lucky break. There is no scarcity in the divine, and since you're one with it, there is no true scarcity in you either. All you need to do is remember this. Every morning, every moment, especially when it feels least true. Your personal daily abundance routine. Now that you've absorbed the principles, it's time to anchor them into a practical routine that becomes a sacred ritual, your daily immersion into overflow. Here's a simple 4-step spiritual abundance routine you can follow. Morning activation. Enter the state before the day begins. As soon as you wake up, close your eyes. Feel the presence of infinite supply within. Visualize your life already abundant. Not the process, just the end result. Whisper an affirmation like, I live in a loving, abundant universe. I am supported. I am supplied. I am secure. This 5-minute inner alignment sets the tone for the day. Midday recalibration. Bless everything. Whenever you handle money, spend time, talk to someone, bless the moment. Bless your food, your work, even delays or detours. Say mentally, this too is part of my abundance. Everything is working in my favor. This rewires your nervous system to see prosperity everywhere. Evening revision and gratitude. Before sleep, review your day. Revise anything negative, just like Neville taught. Imagine it went well. Then thank the universe for 1 or 2 things you noticed as proof, synchronicities, kindness, peace. Say, thank you for showing me that I am aligned with overflow. Gratitude seals the state into your subconscious during sleep. Weekly vision expansion. Once a week, write out your vision. Expand it. Add new desires. Feel them. Celebrate them. Affirm, this or something better is already mine in divine order. This weekly ritual keeps you growing. A final empowering affirmation of lifelong supply. Now, as we close, let this final affirmation become your spiritual signature, your imprint on the universe, echoing every day as your truth. I am the channel through which divine abundance flows endlessly. I'm not separate from the source. I am one with it. All that I need is already mine, in form or in flow. I trust, I receive, I give, I expand. My life is a constant unfolding of beauty, wealth, and joy. I live in a universe of yes, and it answers to my knowing. Say this daily, not mechanically, but as a bold inner declaration. Let it take root in your subconscious. Let it rewrite your energy signature. Your overflow is inevitable. You have now stepped into a higher octave of being. You no longer chase. You attract. You no longer wait. You embody. You are not hoping for miracles. You are the miracle. Every word, image, feeling, and act of gratitude has built a new energetic foundation. Your future is not something you're trying to create. It's already vibrating within you. Now go and live from it. The world is waiting to reflect your overflow.